You've been feeling depressed. You've been feeling aggravated. You've been struggling with mental health issues. Just feel like a million thoughts going through your head at one time. Then I can tell you this. Focus should be on your list. I don't know why y'all out here and y'all just can't seem to focus, right? A lot of y'all out here complaining of depression. Y'all type every day about how lonely y'all is. You know, y'all screaming for help. But yet, the one thing that y'all lacking is focus. And then, not only are y'all lacking focus, but when somebody brings it to your attention and they try to say, well, just calm down. You know, y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all don't want to hear that. You know, a lot of y'all want somebody to just reach out and just like give you the information of what's going on, right? When you depressed, when you aggravated, you frustrated, you can't seem to go on. A lot of y'all just sit up there and y'all waiting on somebody to just tell you what's going on, right? Tell you why you aggravated. How can somebody tell you why you frustrated and why you aggravated if they're not you? They ain't you. So a lot of y'all getting mad because y'all typing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and you know y'all whining about how frustrated y'all is, and about how depressed y'all is, and about how aggravated y'all is, and about how y'all struggling with daily life situations. But y'all don't take the time to sit down and acknowledge that maybe you are the problem. You the reason why you frustrated. You the reason why you depressed. You the reason why you can't get forward. Because you won't take the time to sit down and focus. And then let me tell you, the reason why a lot of y'all can't focus, because guess what? Focus takes time. And in today's world, we are like a rush society. Everybody want everything now, right now, within 5 seconds. A lot of people can't even sit down and watch a video longer than 30 seconds. Why y'all think reels is only like 30 seconds to a minute? Because a lot of people can't sit down and focus long enough to even sit down. And think and process anything. That's why they make reels 30 seconds to 1 minute. Because why? People that's in charge of technology, they have come to the understanding that, oh, you know what? These people, they can't focus no more than 30 seconds to a minute. So we need to come out with something, you know, not just videos, because videos are usually longer than a minute. And people they realize that people don't have the mind frame to even sit longer than a minute. So they say, you know what? Let's create reels. Let's give the people what they want, create reels. And now it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Because what's happening is, since we have reels, we have a lot of people that really can't sit down and watch nothing. In a minute, y'all think we can't go past a minute. In a minute, we ain't even going to be watching nothing longer than 10 seconds. Longer than 10 seconds. A lot of y'all can't even process anything. That's because you can't sit down and focus. If you don't know me, my name is Queen A. I'm a life coach. I help people understand how to overcome fears, how to overcome failures, right? How to build their confidence, how to know what respect is, what it's not. Because I also teach this, because everybody respect level ain't your respect level. Right? And focus is one of the main principles that I teach on. Because I'm going to tell you the ones that I said first. So when I teach, we talk about confidence. We talk about respect. We talk about honesty. We talk about these things, right? And we do them in certain steps. The reason why we do them in certain steps, because they build off of each other. Why? Because if you want to build confidence, you have to know what respect is. Once you build respect, you have to know how to be honest. Once you be honest, you have to understand how to listen, right? And so on. In order to do any of them things, you have to understand how to focus. But a lot of y'all ain't ready for that conversation because you don't want to sit down long enough. All you want to do is sit up there and whine and ask people about, you just want to ask people to tell you how to get over your hurt, how to get over your pain. Then wonder why, I get better for a second, but then I'm right back in this position. Why do I keep getting depressed all the time? Why do I keep getting aggravated all the time? Maybe it's because you ain't sat down and took the time to focus. Because like I said, focus takes patience. When you focus, guess what? You have to get silent for a minute. Because in order to focus, you got to sit and think about some things. In order to focus, you have to acknowledge some things. Right? This is why a lot of people don't like to focus. And this is why we have a world full of just anything going on right now, right? Meaning a world full of depression, a world full of people full of fear, a world full of people that can't overcome their failures, a world full of people that's angry. And I can go on and on and on. And the reason for that is because they haven't learned how to master one of the simple steps. Focus. That's how you become a better individual. That's how you get over your fears. That's how you overcome your failures, right? That's how you learn how to be honest. That's how you learn what respect is and what it's not. In order to do any of them things I named, you better slow down and learn how to focus if you want to learn how to do it. But they say you better, whether you like it or not. Let me tell you something. A lot of us as parents out here, right? So I'm a life coach. I usually deal with adults and teenagers, right? So adults that deal with youth and that have children of their own. A lot of y'all can't focus enough to even listen to y'all children. This is a conversation a lot of people don't want to hear. A lot of y'all, if y'all just sat down and shut y'all mouth and focus on y'all youth, we wouldn't have half of the problems that we have going on out here today. But y'all won't sit down and take the time to focus on your youth. But you'll focus on that cruise that you're going on. But you'll focus on that check that's coming in. But you'll focus on going to the club with your homegirls. Or you'll focus on hooking up with your homeboys. But you won't take the time to sit down and focus on your own youth. And y'all like, well, I don't sit down and take the time to focus on my homeboys and none of that too. Yes, you do. I'm going to tell you, yes, you do. A lot of y'all sit down, y'all take the time to think about where y'all going on vacation. Y'all y'all sit down and take the time to think about where you and your boys going, where y'all gonna hook up at, what y'all gonna do, what y'all gonna wear. Y'all sit down and take the time for that. But when it comes to the stuff y'all should be focusing on, it goes out the window. When it comes to the positivity, a lot of y'all know how to focus when it comes to the negativity. Oh, y'all can focus on all the celebrities and what they got going on. A lot of y'all can focus on Sexy Red and what she got going on, and who is some more Christian and Blue Rock, Blueface or whatever. But y'all can focus on all that. Y'all can probably tell somebody every single step about what's going on in their relationships and on their reality shows. Y'all probably know everybody's business, they name, they baby daddy name, where they stay at, where they going, what's next on the menu that they doing, they go, everything. Why? Because you was focused enough in on that. Oh, yeah. You was focused in on that. Oh, for that, you was all focused. You was all in. But when it came to focusing on anything that was important, yourself, your youth, your family issues, your finances, it was like crickets, right? When it came in that area. That's a lot of us don't want to focus on that area because it's hard. A lot of us don't want to focus on the area of being parents because it requires work. A lot of us don't want to focus on the area of building our finances because it requires work. A lot of us don't want to focus on the area of having goals because it requires work. A lot of us don't want to do these things because they require work. That's why a lot of people don't focus nowadays. And especially not focus on something positive because it requires work. And let's just face it nowadays. People don't like to work. They don't like to work. Whether y'all believe it or not. I was scrolling on Facebook, right? I had made a post and I was going down Facebook and I seen a post and it said that, people nowadays are so lazy that you can give them a job sleeping and they'll wake up and quit. And I just thought that was so funny, right? It was so funny, but it's also so sad at the same time. Because if you think about it, it's kind of true. It's kind of true, right? People don't really like to work nowadays. They don't. People hate working. I mean, just look at how the restaurants is compared to, back in our days, I'm in my 40s, back to just 10 years ago. Just do 10 years ago to how they are now. Think about how the stores was then to how they are now. right? It just shows you alone. I remember when people had to wear hair nets. I remember when people couldn't wear, their nails couldn't be a certain length if they was working in certain fields. They couldn't have polish if they was in the medical. It was so many different aspects, right? And I'm going to tell y'all now, it takes focus to do them things. Yes. It takes focus to do that. People start complaining. Why? Because people don't, it was too hard for people to, oh, what? You mean to tell me I can't get my nails that long? Oh, I can't get my nails painted? Huh? I'm only flipping burgers. That's what they say, I'm only flipping burgers. But they didn't even take the time to sit down, and if they would have thought and focused on what they was really saying, really, you doing one of the most important things you could be doing in society. You handing away food. Why would you have long nails? Why wouldn't you be wearing a hairnet? If you really sat down and thought about that and focused on that, you would want to wear a hairnet. You wouldn't want somebody to have on long nails. You wouldn't want their nails to be painted. If you really sat down and focused on that. But like I said, we are becoming a weak society so much that people can't even think for themselves. So much that people are so worried about their looks. People more worried about their looks than their health. Because if they was more worried about their health, they wouldn't even care about the fact that they couldn't wear long nails or that their nails couldn't be painted a certain way, right? These are things that they wouldn't even think about. But people are choosing to think about that. Why? Because people only worried about their self. People only are focused in. Now, that's one thing people are focused in there. They're focused in on self. Very focused in on self. But when it comes to anything else or anybody else, people are out of tune. People can't even focus on truth nowadays. Let me say that again. People can't even focus on truth nowadays. If you focus too much on truth nowadays, people come for you. They think you crazy. Like you at it, like something wrong with you because you live in actual truth. Not what you believe to be true. We talking about actual truth. The world is so gone that people, because they believe. I don't care what people believe. We are becoming, well, you can be whatever you want to be. You know, I think people took that one commercial. What was that Army commercial? Be all that you can be in the Army. They took that too serious. Nothing against the Army, because I guess you can be all you can be there. But people took that saying as like they can be all they can be in real life, and that's not true. You can't be all you can be. And I want y'all to think about that. People really focused on that. You wouldn't want people to just be all that, like just whatever they want to be. Why would you want people to be all that they can be? You get what I'm saying? I could be a criminal all day, but do that mean that I should be one? I could be a liar all day, but do that mean I really should be a liar? These are things that you can be. So when you really home in and if you focus on that, you will understand that, hold up, you know what? I might don't need to focus on that. You know, I might, that's saying, you know, be all that you can be might not, you know, be something for humans, for just, that shouldn't be something for nobody. I don't think nobody should be all that they can be. Unless you're saying be all, you know what, say, unless I was to say this, I would say, you know what, do all that you can do positively. You know what I mean? You know, become anything that you want to that's positive. Become anything that's a positive influence in this world. Yes. But don't become anything that you can be. Because you can be anything. You can be a sexist. You can be a murderer. You can be a liar. You can be a cheater. You can be a thief. Right? You can be conniving. You can be jealous. You can be angry. You can be depressed. These are all things that you can be. But should you really be them? And if you really took time and sat down and focused, you would think that, hold on, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be all that you can be. Maybe what you should be focusing on is, what can I really do that good, that's positive? And that's what I should focus on. You know? Or maybe focusing on what's going on in my household, you know, that I need to focus on. right? Is my child walking around angry, right? Or is the people I'm walking around depressed all the time? Do I always find myself around angry, aggravated people? And if so, then maybe I should sit down and take the time to think about, why am I finding myself around these people all the time? Because sometimes when we really sit down and think, then you'll start thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I just need to change my situation. Maybe I need to change my environment. Maybe I need to change who I'm associated with. Maybe I need to change what I'm doing for a living. Maybe I need to change who I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? Maybe I need to change the way I'm parenting. Maybe I need to change, I could just go on and on and on. But things are things that we won't even think about until we learn how to focus. And when you focus, you setting goals. You can't focus without setting goals. I'm going to tell you now, you can't be in a focus mode if you're not setting goals. Because once you really, truly focusing, guess what you're doing? You're sitting down. If you're really, truly focusing, you're quiet, you're sitting down, and you're thinking about what is going on, right? Like, what's going on? Why am I depressed all the time? Why am I angry all the time? Let me think about that. You really sitting down and you wondering, like, you know what? Why am I aggravated all the time? Queen A, why am I depressed all the time? Oh, you know what? I'm depressed all the time because I keep getting up at 6 a.m, but I'm really not a morning person. But I catch myself going to bed at 12 at night all the time. Or, I'm aggravated and I'm frustrated because I keep on loaning out all this money and I really don't have it to loan out, but I'm just so scared to say no, so I loan it out anyway, and now I'm depressed and I'm aggravated and sad because now I done made myself short. So then when you start focusing, and even in that situation, then you'll start having goals. Because remember, you'll start thinking, if you really focusing and you hone in on that, once you think about that, your next step should be, what can I do to overcome that? What can I do to get better? Right? Or what can I do to keep going in the correct direction? These are things that you think about once you are focused. But if you are not focused, you're going to keep remaining to be depressed. You're going to keep remaining to be angry. You're going to keep remaining to be aggravated. You're not going to understand what respect is and what it's not. Because you're not even taking the time to focus and think. So like I said, I'm a life coach. This is what I help people do. So like I say again, if you feel like, you frustrated, you've been feeling frustrated lately, you've been feeling, like so fearful because it's something that you want to do, but you just can't seem to do it. And you just feeling like everything you're doing is a failure. And you just feel like, I don't know why I can't seem to connect with my youth because I'm just so out of tune with reality. I don't know what's going on. Reach out to Queen A. I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching as well. You can reach out to me at queenaspeaks@gmail.com. That is the email. Or you can reach me on any of my platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at Queen A Speaks. All right. On Facebook, it's Ariel St. Clair and Queen A in parentheses. You can put hashtags Queen A Speaks and you'll see my posts come out and you can follow me like that. But I want y'all to understand the reason why y'all not focused out here. Because you haven't even sat down and took the time to think about nothing. Your mind, you got a million ideas and thoughts going through your mind. But you keep going and going and going and going. You're like the Energizer Bunny. Instead, what you need to do, if you have a million things going through your mind, you need to sit down. Take them batteries out your backpack for a minute and sit down. Sit down. Where it's peace and quiet at. Find you somewhere where you got a little nice quiet space. Quiet time. Whatever y'all want to call it. Find that. Sit down for a minute. Acknowledge your thoughts. Acknowledge them. Don't just go sit down and try to block them out. No, acknowledge why you're angry. Acknowledge why you're feeling depressed. Acknowledge all the thoughts that's coming up. Because when you acknowledge them, that's when it's going to start slowing down. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. It's going to start slowing down. Because now you acknowledge them like, okay, you know what? I'm depressed because of this. I'm angry because of this. Now you knocking them out. You crossing them out. You crossing them out, right? And once you done cross them out, now you cross them out, you're like, okay, bam. I acknowledge, I know why I'm frustrated now. I know why I'm aggravated now. I know why I'm depressed now. Now your next thing is, your next move should be, what can I do to overcome these things? What can I do to overcome these things? That's where the goals come in at. But remember, you can't even get to this point until you learn how to sit down and calm and sit down in a nice space and acknowledge your thoughts. That's the first step to focusing. You can't focus if you don't know what you're focusing on. How you going to focus with empty thoughts? You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible to focus without having something to think about. Because you need a target. That's why it's called focus, right? You're homing in on a target. That's why if somebody say, focus on this microphone, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at this microphone. This microphone becomes my target. So now I'm thinking about all the elements of the microphone. This is my target. Okay? Is the microphone too loud? Is it too low? Do I need to tune it up? Do I need to tune it down? Do I need to take the echo out? These are all the things that's going to start coming in when I start focusing on this microphone. And once I answer all them questions about the microphone, now I can start answering, okay, well, if it is too low, then what do I need to do? I need to turn it up. If it's too high, what do I need to do? I need to turn it down. If it's too much of an echo, then I need to figure out how to get the echo out of there, and so on. But these are things that I can't even begin to do until I learn how to focus. Right? This is why I do what I do. This is why I do what I do. Because it ain't a lot of people out there that's thinking about even just sitting down and taking the time to focus. You know how many times I go and I talk to people and they telling me about, I'm so depressed, I'm so aggravated, I got this going on, I got that going on, and they got a million wrong things going in their head. And then I just slow them down and tell them, sit down and take your time. One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to acknowledge all them thoughts in your head. But before you do that, I need you to sit down and take a breath for a minute. So that don't mean sit down and jump right into it. That's why you got to sit down and acknowledge your thoughts. Acknowledge them. Give yourself a breather for a minute. Then start writing them down. Right? Then go over, what you can do to get better, which is where your goals come in at. And once you write your goals down, then you talk about how you execute them goals. Because when you focus and you have a target and you lasered in, like when we was talking about the microphone, right? If it's too low and I got to get high, then I talk about my goal is to get it higher, right? Because the microphone's too low, so my goal is to get it higher. And how do I go about getting it higher? Well, I have to raise the volume. So my goal is to make sure, that my volume is at level 5 every time I go live, right? Since it was too low the last time, let me make sure it might have been on 2 last time, but let me try it on 5. Right? But that's stuff that y'all got to understand. And that's why them the things that I'm going to talk about. Whether they want to talk about them or not. Because a lot of y'all can't focus because you worried about TikTok. A lot of y'all can't focus because y'all trying to blah, because y'all trying to keep up with y'all homeboys and y'all homegirls. That's why you can't focus. A lot of y'all can't focus because you worried about what everybody on the block gonna say about you. A lot of y'all can't focus on becoming a better person because they gonna laugh at you on the block if you don't do X, Y, Z. Oh, if you got books in your hand, you a square. If you got a book bag on, you're a bum. Things of that nature. A lot of y'all more worried about that than worried about calming down, focusing, and homing in. And in 10 years, you can be a better individual. In 10 years, you can be out the space you in. Right? In 10 years, you can be a millionaire. In 10 years, you can have your own business. Right? These are things people don't focus on Why? Because they won't even sit down and take the time to acknowledge their thoughts. They just keep being mad. They just keep being angry. They just keep playing tick for tack. You do something to me, I do something to you back. And I wonder why we keep going through this cycle. Because nobody is sitting down and taking the time and to say, cut, time out. Let's think about this for a second. Let's focus on the situation that we have here. Is it really worth it? You kill me, I kill him, he kill me back, you kill me back, and so forth. Is it really worth it? If somebody really sat down and focused and honed in on it, they will understand, okay, well, it's not really worth it. Because at the end of the day, everybody is who's winning here. Who's winning here? You lost 2, I lost 3, but who's really winning? Right? We both lost somebody. Both families is crying. Both families are depressed. Both families are sad. So who's really winning here? That's why I wanted to talk to y'all about the importance of focusing. Take time. If you catch yourself being depressed all the time, and I'm talking about you like, you know what? I've been depressed all this week. All this week I've been depressed. If you know that you've been in that mode, you like, all this week you've been depressed, then I need you to sit down and take a moment and think about why is it that you have been depressed. Right? Why is it that you are depressed? And then whatever thoughts pop in your head, write them down. Acknowledge them. Don't run from no thought. Don't think no thought is too little, or don't shy away from no thought, because it came and popped up in your head for a reason, because the thought that pops up is the thoughts that you need to acknowledge. It's not the thought that you want to put in place of that. It's the initial thoughts that pop up are the ones that you need to attend to and think about. Them are the ones. When you wondering and you're like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know what to focus on. Focus on the thoughts that's popping up in your mind. You wondering why you're depressed? Soon as you go in the room and you sit down and you start wondering like, dang, why am I depressed? You're going to have all these thoughts popping up in your head. Trust me. They're going to be there. They're already there. You just have to humble yourself and calm down enough to acknowledge them. Write goals to them, to overcome them. And then execute them. Meaning just do it. Just do what you wrote down. When you write down them goals, make sure they are well planned out goals. They are doable goals, right? Don't say, you know what, I'm so depressed because I keep smoking cigarettes every day. But don't let your goal be where, you know what, tomorrow is going, you know what, I'm just going to stop smoking cigarette right now. And then, no, have a plan. Well, you know what, I smoke a whole pack today. I might smoke 10 for, 2 days, and then go down to 5 the next 2 days, and then, but wean yourself off. You don't want to just go cold turkey, and that's with anything, because if you go cold turkey, you're going to find yourself fiending. So now if I show my age, but you're going to catch yourself still thirsty, like wanting that, right? Geeking for it, because you just cut yourself off cold turkey. But if you wean yourself out, slowly but surely, guess what? Your body is getting over it anyway. Right? So after a while, you can just stop. Because you went from 10 to 5 to 3. So now you're only at 1. And after that 1, you can just stop. But you have to have a well-executed plan. Right? But in order to get that well-executed plan, you have to focus. Meaning you have to take the time to go in a nice, quiet space and think about what it is that you need to be executing. So instead of focusing on the club, instead of focusing on, men, which for the ladies, stop focusing on all the men, and the men stop focusing on the women all the time. Focus on what why you're so angry, why you're so mad. And I don't want to hear people on here talking about, well, I ain't mad. Do y'all know more people are mad and aggravated and depressed since online been out? So I know somebody that's going to hear this is depressed. Somebody that's going to hear this is aggravated. Somebody that's going to hear this is sad. And if that's you, reach out to Queen A at queenaspeaks@gmail.com. You can leave a comment wherever you see this video at, whether it be on YouTube, right? You see clips of it on Facebook, wherever you see it. Leave a comment. I will reach back out to you. Trust me. Right? So I also go around and I speak. So if you would like for me to come to your facility and speak, if you're in the Ohio area and you like, I would love for you to come to my facility and speak. And even if you ain't in the Ohio area, if you like in the U.S., you like, I would love for you to come to speak. Just trust me, I will be there. Reach out to me. I'll set an appointment. We'll talk. We'll set something up and we'll go from there. We'll make sure we're a good fit for each other and we'll go from there. But you can book me for speaking as well. But I do this for a reason, guys. I do this because we're losing focus. We're losing touch on truth. We're losing touch of reality. We're losing touch of just what we are as one, as an individual, of who we are as human beings. Nobody knows who they are no more. Nobody knows who they are no more. It's almost unheard of to be a natural individual human being. Why? Because nobody is focused. Nobody is really taking the time to think. Nobody is really making active goals. Nobody is really executing the goals that they're making. This is the problem that we're having out here in society. Nobody seems to notice the problem. Everybody seems to be okay with not focusing. I'm going to tell you now, if you can't focus, you're going to stay in a dark place. You're going to remain unfocused. You're going to come into a world of trouble that you can't seem to get yourself out of. Right? You're going to be going all over the place and don't know why. Because you can't go through life without having focus. I don't care what you're doing. You can't go through life and nothing you do in life without focusing. Whether it's a job, whether it's kids, whether it's a relationship. I don't care what you're doing in life. You cannot do it without focusing. Without having that principle right there, you ain't getting too far. If you don't focus, I don't care. Let me tell y'all something. That's just like driving somewhere, right? Let's say if you want to drive from here, I'm in Ohio. If I want to drive to California, right? Because that's one of my goals on one of my lists. If I want to drive to California, guess what? I have to be focused. Meaning I have to sit down. I have to think about, okay, what is it I'm trying to do? I'm trying to drive to California, right? So now I got to put goals in. So my goal is to find directions to California, right? To make sure that I get to California from Ohio. That is my goal. So now I have to come up with the way to execute my goals. Well, the way to execute that is to utilize Google Maps or order me a map and write out the steps of how to get from Ohio to California. Right? And if I'm not focused on how to do that, like let's say I get a map, right? Let me tell you how important focus is. Let's say I get a map and I'm trying to go from here to California. And I just got the map and I'm just writing down directions. But I'm really not focused on the map, right? I'm really not focused on the map. So I just like, oh, it looked like you turn right there on 275 West. I think that's what it say. And I just write 275 West and I turn right there. And I say, well, the next one, it looked like you supposed to make it right on Baltimore Pike. I think that's what it say. And I put what I think it say down, right? But I don't take that map and zoom in and see where it's really telling me to turn at. I'm going to end up somewhere else. I'm not going to end up in California. Or if I end up in California, I'm not going to end up at my destination in California. Why? Because I didn't zoom in. I didn't focus. I didn't take time enough to think. I didn't execute my goals correctly. So I ended up in a whole nother location. That's how important it is to focus. If you don't focus right, if you don't execute your goals correctly, you're going to end up in a whole nother location. You're going to end up somewhere you don't want to be in life. You're going to end up hanging with people you don't want to hang with. You're going to end up doing things you don't want to do. You're going to end up working places you don't want to work. You're going to end up raising your kids in a way you don't want to raise them. Because you lack focus. I'm telling y'all now, focus is one of the principles that you don't want to lack. I teach a lot of principles. And like I said, I teach a lot of principles. I teach about building confidence. I teach about overcoming fears. I teach about overcoming failures. I teach about what respect is and what it's not. I teach about honesty. I teach about love. I teach about so much. Trust. All these things. But focus is one of them principles, right? Focus is one of them principles that you can't do. You can't do none of the other ones if you don't have focus. You can't do a principle on this earth if you don't got focus. I don't know what they told y'all, but if they ain't tell you to focus in order to get your goals together, if they didn't tell you to focus in order to become a better individual, if they didn't tell you to focus for that test tomorrow, if they didn't tell you to focus for that training that you got going on, if they didn't tell you to focus to get to your next destination in life, they telling you wrong. What they say, somebody done told you wrong. Somebody told you wrong, sweetie. You ain't going nowhere if you don't focus. You ain't even getting to the first destination if you don't focus. You can't make it to the first stop. You can't make it to the first stop in your destination if you don't know where you're going. Because in order for you to know where you're going, you gotta have what? Y'all already know by now. I ain't even gotta say it. What you gotta have? What you gotta have? Somebody in the background right now talking about focus. That's right, focus. So I had to come on here and I had to do this episode. Oh, I had to do this episode right here. I had to. Because somebody had to hear this. Somebody was going to hear this right here because somebody lacking focus. Somebody is lacking focus right now. Oh yeah, somebody lacking focus. Whether y'all want to hear it or not. Whether you want to believe it or not. Somebody lacking focus. Y'all say somebody lacking focus. Look, they like somebody lacking. No, but for real though. For real. Y'all know I got to joke with y'all a little bit. But no, for real though. Somebody you know is lacking focus. And I'm going to ask you this. Plain and simple. Is it you? Or are you the one lacking focus? Are you the one feeling depressed all day? Are you the one angry? Are you the one having fear? Are you the one feeling like you're a failure? Are you the one disrespectful? Are you the one that's not quite honest, but you want to be? If any of these things I'm saying is you should be reaching out to Queen A. You should be reaching out to Queen A at queenaspeaks@gmail.com. I'm ready to hear from you. I want to take you from all them things I just said to by the time I would get done with you, I want you to understand what fear is and how you will never get rid of it. Right? But you can live with it. I want you to understand what failure is and how it's just a life lesson. These are things you're going to learn with me. I want by the time you get done with me, you're going to learn what respect is and what it is not. You're going to understand the benefits and the disadvantages of being honest. Right? You're going to understand just what love is and what it is not. But before we can do any of that, in order to do any of that, I need y'all to stay focused. I need y'all to take time, go in that room, go in that quiet space and think. Think about why you going through what you going through. Why you in a position you in. Why you hang with who you hang with. Why you do what you do. Why you work where you work. I need y'all to think about that. And if you don't think it's important, then I need you to think real hard. You the main person I need to think. If you listening, you like, you know what? I don't need to think about that. You the main person who need to think about it. You the first person I want to think about it. Because it matters. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all really got something from this podcast episode, man. I really do. Because this right here, This gonna slap somebody with truth for sure. But I hope y'all here for it like I'm here for it. This is all love. Our slaps is love. The slap we giving is love. We slapping y'all with love, right? Because we want to bring back the truth. And I want y'all to remember this, because I have a free E1M1 community on Facebook. I haven't been doing that much on there. I'm getting better. Don't get me wrong. I'm getting better, y'all. I'm going to get better on it. You can also subscribe to me on Facebook now. I'll be doing a whole lot of teachings on Facebook. Like I said, if you also want to be a guest on my Slapping with Truth podcast, if you want to be a guest, make sure that you comment guest on this video, and I'll make sure that I send you the link so you can go on. It's called the pre-podcast interview, where I ask you some questions. We'll talk about a whole lot. I'll ask you some questions. You get to ask me some questions, and we'll go from there and see if we're a great fit for each other. If you, you know what, you enjoyed this podcast and you feel like you really need somebody that can help you overcome these things that we talked about, make sure that you reach out to me at queenaspeaks@gmail.com. All right. Or if you know what, you can also reach out to me on YouTube as well. You don't have to go to the email to reach out to me. You can comment on the video. You can comment train, right? Coach, help, whichever word fits better for you. Just make sure that I know that you want me to reach out to you. All right. So I'm up out of here. I hope y'all got something from this. Share this video. Share this with y'all friends. Share this with y'all family. Because I guarantee there's somebody out there that's lacking focus. That don't even realize that they're lacking focus. Don't even understand why they're lacking focus, right? But they're lacking it. All right. So I love y'all. If nobody else love you, y'all already know. Later. Mwah.